question 1 on the test was the one you could answer using a proportion. So it says a total force of 60 newtons will stretch a force of 20 newtons will stretch a spring 5 centimeters. So if it's 5 centimeters for 20 newtons, it wants to know how many centimeters for 60. So if you do, this is kind of an easy one, you don't even need to solve it the hard way, because I know that 20 times 3 is 60. So if I multiply my numerator by 3, 5 times 3 is 15. And what I really loved in a lot of your answers was the complete sentence answers, which were, you know, a force of 60 newtons will stretch a spring 15 centimeters. Okay, let's see, number 2. Let's see how many we can fit on this page. Number 2 is a multiple choice, and I think most of this page, 2, 3, and 4, were proportions. An ant is 1/8 of an inch long. If we do 1 divided by 8, you get 1.25. So if you're 1.125 of an inch long, and 1 inch is 25.4 millimeters, how many millimeters long is the ant? So this is what we're looking for here. So this one is a little harder to solve. We can't just multiply the denominator unless you're really good with maths. So we're going to do it the way I told you, where we multiply both sides by both denominators, 25.4 and x, because you have to do the same thing to both sides. And then on the one side, the 25.4 cancel. On the other side, the x's cancel. So you have 25.4 times 0.125. I'm going to use the calculator. 25.4 times 0.125. 3.175 equals x. And it looks like they rounded this 7 up to 8 because of the 5, so 3.18 is your multiple choice answer. Question 3, there are 100 nautical miles for every 185 kilometers. So let's start our proportion. 180 miles for every just 100 miles. Sorry guys, almost had a mistake in there, but you can't catch me now. 100 nautical miles for every 185 kilometers. How far in kilometers is 290 nautical miles? Okay, both sides by both denominators. It may get to the point where you can start doing this in your head, because I know my x's will cancel out here, right? And I know my 185s will cancel out here. So if I just kind of multiply this side by this denominator and this side by this denominator in my head, you can get the right answer. So 100x on this side of the equal sign, and 290 times 185. 290 times 185. 553,650. Okay, and if you divide by 100, you move the decimal place 2 times over, right? We need to divide both sides by 100 to get x by itself. 536.5. And it looks like they rounded that up to 537. So your answer was C for that one. Okay. And 4, we'll finish off this page. Oh, game wardens used experiments to help determine the number of fish in the lake. Suppose 100 fish are caught, tagged, and released back into the lake. So your original tagged was 100. Tagged. Out of, we don't know, right? And then the second time they caught fish, 90 fish were caught, 4 of which have tags. So 4 were tagged. Now remember, out of 100 caught. Oops, 90 fish. Gosh, you guys. 4 were tagged out of 90 fish caught. Now remember, when you're doing proportions, the same units are in the numerators and then the same units are in the denominators. When you're doing dimensional analysis, you want them on opposite sides so you can cancel them out. So if I multiply this side by 90 and x, my 90's cancel. And if I multiply this side by 90 and x, my x's cancel. So then I have 90 and 2 zeros, because it's 100, equals 4x. Divide both sides by, oops, that was a 90 over here. Divide both sides by 4. X equals, let's see, 2, 2, 5, 0. There we go. All right, you guys, question number 5 was a toughie. It was with Felicia and how far she's driving, and in the end it wants how much does she spend per mile on the highway. So dollars or cents per mile on the highway. So I've set up 3 different, you can use dimensional analysis, you can set up 3 different proportions. So the first one at the top, I'm trying to figure out how many miles she's driving on the highway. So the proportion I set up says if she's driving 70 miles for 1 hour, that's equal to how many miles in 1.25 hours, because remember, she's driving 1 hour and 15 minutes, which is 1.25 hours. So if we solve this, just like we've been doing, multiplying both sides by both denominators, we get x times 1 is just x is equal to 70 times 1.25, 87.5. So she drives a total of 87.5 miles on the highway. Okay? And then if she's getting 30 miles for 1 gallon of gas, how many gallons is it going to take to go 87.5 miles? Okay, so we want to know how much gas she's using. There's our x. So it's the same thing, 1 and x, and 1 and x. X's cancel here. 1's cancel. X times 30, so we get 30x equals 1 times 87.5 is just 87.5 divided by 30 divided by 30. Then x equals, on this one, 87.5 divided by 30. 2.9, I'll round that to 2. So approximately she uses 2.92 gallons of gas. So we needed to know that to put into this next one, because if it's $3.50 for every gallon, okay, for 1 gallon, and I use, oops, sorry, that should be on the denominator. I use 2.92 gallons, and I want to know how much money she's going to spend to be on the highway. So multiply both sides by 2.92 and 1. My 1's cancel, my 2.92. So 350 times 2.92. Don't forget your decimal. Cool. So she spends $10.22 on her drive, but that is not what the question is asking. What it's asking is how much does she spend per mile? So we need to reduce this. If it's $10.22 for 87.5 miles, what is it? How much money is it for every just 1 mile, right? That's the last thing you have to do. So if you multiply both sides by 1 and 87.5, you get 10.22 equals 87.5x, divide by 87.5, and it's going to be not very much, right, per mile. Approximately 12 cents. And because of rounding errors, so I'm going to say approximately 12 cents. Because of rounding errors, people may have gotten a different decimal, but as long as it was close, I gave this one to you.